Yo, what's going on, man? Today is December the 29th, 2023. It's your boy Chris, and this is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA show where I'm live on Twitter. I'm also live on YouTube as well. I know the vibes, man. Do me a favor as you join, hit the like button for me if you can. Subscribe to the show if you haven't already and you enjoy the content. Also, share the show if you can. All of those things are greatly appreciated. Also, turn the notification bell on because this is a chance that I'll do a Saturday show as well. But you'll never know if the notification bell isn't turned on, at least on to YouTube. Maybe not on Twitter. I don't tweet a lot, though, because I'm not on Twitter a lot. But if you guys do want to know when I go live and don't miss the shows, especially not missing the start time of the shows, definitely turn the notification bell on. It's been a lot of love that's been shown towards the show, a lot of likes, a lot of people sending me tickets that they've cashed, telling my plays, kind of, stuff that the community's kind of shared throughout the show. And I'm appreciative of that, man. Heart always full of gratitude. I appreciate it as always. And so let's get to it for today, man. Yesterday, I gave out one play before the day started. That was the over in the Boston Celtics in the Detroit Pistons game at 232. We needed overtime, but it was a winner. Then I also took the Minnesota Timberwolves live play, put it in the YouTube membership group, didn't share it on Twitter. Minus the 2.5 in the third quarter after they kind of played around with the Dallas Mavericks last night, and they played around with them again in the third quarter. Gave up, I think, 31 points, probably the most points they've given up in the third quarter, specifically at home this season with no Luka. Really frustrating there. They just couldn't. Honestly, they scored enough points, they just couldn't get a stop. Tim Hardaway Jr. turned up on them, and nobody could really guard him last night once he got hot. Super frustrating because that was something that I really liked a lot last night. So we finished the night about minus 0.3 units or something like that, minus 0.2 units or something like that. It was nothing small, just with the 1-1 split. But looking forward to trying to cash today, man. It's a lot in the NBA. It's a lot going on with the injury news. I always talk about players having the sniffles and a lot. You got to monitor all the injury stuff. So I'm just kind of taking it slow, not giving out a lot of plays. I haven't even given out a play today. There's some things that I absolutely loved. Well, not absolutely love, but some things that I love today that I'm gonna share with you guys in a second. But I'm just kind of taking my time with it, man. You see a lot of manipulation, it feels like, for me anyway, in the NBA. So let's jump into it for today. First game up, we're going to DC, up the street from me. We got the Brooklyn Nets in DC today, taking on the Washington Wizards. For Brooklyn, all of the guys that didn't play the other day against Milwaukee, this was on Wednesday, are supposed to be playing today. You get Cam Johnson back, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Nicholas Claxton, all listed as probable for this game. To me, I do see, Nicholas Claxton likely to play. On the Washington side, everybody should be in there as well, except Danilo Gallinari, who's listed as a game-time decision. He's questionable. Toss up the play right now. He doesn't mean that much to the game or to the spread or anything at all either. So this game actually is 6 right now. So Wizards at 6-point dogs at the crib. I'll tell you guys this: the Brooklyn Nets haven't been good lately. They're 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games. One of the teams that started off really hot, and now they're kind of regressing to the mean. This is the third game in 4 nights for them as well, but you can't really take that into consideration too much because a lot of their players did rest on the second leg of that back-to-back. This is also the first game of a 4-game road trip, and they got some tough matchups coming up. They actually go to Oklahoma City, they play in New Orleans, and they play Houston. All 3 of those games are on deck, a part of this 4-game road trip that they're about to be on. For Washington, this is not a team you typically want to put your money on either. They're 2-10 at the crib straight up, 3-9 against the spread. This is the third straight home game for them, with one more on New Year's Eve versus the Atlanta Hawks after this one. So looking at the game, man, I honestly, and the other thing I think I want to make sure I mention is this as well. This was a game that I think it may have been like a month ago. We actually took the over in this game because Washington's defense is so bad. This is the third matchup this is the third matchup of the year that these two teams have played each other, and you see the total going up in this one. I want to say it opened at 240. It's up to 242 now. Both games so far this season did the same thing, where you see a low line and then the total goes up. You see a low line, then the total goes up. And both games have actually gone under. For some reason, the Washington Wizards offense does not come to play when they play against the Brooklyn Nets. They scored 94 points in the first game on November the 12th, and they scored 97 points in the second game against Brooklyn on December the 8th. So it's been about 3 weeks and a day since these teams have kind of faced off. That scares me off the total. When I look at the Washington Wizards, I typically want to play over. They haven't been as much of an over team. We know that they got smoked the other day against the Toronto Raptors. That game actually went under because of them. They scored 102 points in that spot. Brooklyn could potentially win this game with their defense as well. And I'm not really 100% sure what to do with this game specifically. Kyle Kuzma, I know he's not on the injury report, but he was a little banged up in that last game as well. I think if I had to play aside, gun to my head, proverbial gun to my head, I think I'm laying the 6 with Brooklyn. Washington's just they're a really, really bad team, and I don't really see them getting too much better in this spot. It is the third game of a 4-game homestand, but it's also a third game in 4 nights for them as well. They lost to Orlando. That was the first game back off the West Coast road trip. They lost to Toronto. They got smoked by Toronto. Toronto was the more rested team in that spot, and now you only got 1 day off. And, you literally are playing against a Brooklyn team that can really come out here and lock you up. So I'm not – I think the total might be crazy to think, but I think a contrarian look would be towards the under on the total just because Washington can't score against this Brooklyn team for whatever reason. And I'd be laying the 6 points with Brooklyn. I don't think Washington got enough defense to be able to stop this Brooklyn team from scoring. So those are my thoughts on the first game. I didn't really get into too much of the player props. If I had to play anything, I'd be looking towards Spencer Dinwiddie to go over his assists in this spot. We know that there's a revenge narrative there. He does not like this team. He does not like Kyle Kuzma. I think it's his first game back as well. Washington plays at an extremely fast pace. They're one of the worst defensive teams in the league. And they're giving up the second most assists at point guard position. So if you could take Spencer Dinwiddie over 6.5 or over 7.5 on your sports book, I do think that he's in line to get some play today. On the opposite side, shout out to my guy Lamonte earlier. He talked about, I did a show with him, and he was talking about Tyus Jones in his spot over his for 18.5 points plus assists. I think that's also pretty good. We played on Tyus Jones last week when he was in Portland to get 10 assists in that spot and to get a double-double. And he just a no-show. I don't think Washington really knows who the offense is going to run through on a night-to-night basis. That's why we see Kyle Kuzma have a good night with assists. That's why we see Tyus Jones. Even Jordan Poole can go out there and get 5-6 assists at night at sometimes as well. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this game because it's not a spot that I have a lot on. But just know that if I had to play it, I'd be laying the 6 with Washington with the Nets, and I'd also be probably looking towards the under in this spot. I think the total's a tad bit too high. So let's get to the chat real quick, and we'll kick it to the next game. What's up, Navi? Appreciate you for being here as always. He says everyone hit the like and subscribe as he always does. Appreciate you shouting that out, Navi. Definitely hit the like and subscribe, especially if you guys are enjoying the show. What up, Will? Fear Elite says, my VA brother, hope you're doing well. Let's get this bread. That's what we're here for. What's good, Sean? Appreciate you for pulling up. Tasha says, greetings. Okay, Chris, I give you your props on the hell no game. You were right, but it's still hell no for the Pistons. Yeah, Tasha, I talked about the Pistons, man. Just real quick on the Pistons. That game was extremely interesting last night. I actually got off my show. I was out last night eating dinner, and I jumped into who was it? Whose space was it? I jumped into a space last night. Whose space was it? It was Zay. I jumped into Zay's space last night, and there was a guy on there talking about Detroit winning the game. And I told him I give him $100 if Detroit win the game. But he had bet it on Bet365 for them to, if you take the money line and they go up by 20, then you get the bread and the early cash out. So I just sent them the $100 too, even though they didn't win the game. I sent them $100. I sent them $100. I lost $100 messing around with the Pistons last night, and Jason Tatum in that broke jump shot in the first half. But it is what it is. Salami says, B.I. killed me yesterday on the assist. Yeah, really good. Really difficult to figure out who's going to pass the ball for that team. Best of luck to you. What's up, Greg? Appreciate you for being here. Locked and Loaded Sportscast. Appreciate you as well. Steve says the Pistons were so bad. Laugh a lot. They tried their best. Were so close. Yeah, they were close last night. They didn't look like that super bad team. Vaughn says, on the way to D.C. to go see Jock Vaughn about that stunt he pulled. About that stunt he pulled the other night. Still not quite over that one. Yeah, best of luck at the game in D.C. tonight. I hope you enjoy it, Vaughn. What's up, Tariq? He says, had a decent night except for the Warriors. Yeah, the Warriors came out and laid a dud last night. Or you can credit Eric Spoelstra in that defense. Like I always say, I'm not in a rush to bet against the Heat as road dogs. This is not something that I'm interested in doing. They different. They built different, man. Jeremiah says, hey, Chris, let's get this cash. Liking Suggs threes over 1.5 tonight. Hawks can't defend the corner, and Suggs is getting up 2.2 per game over the last 8, shooting 46%. Magic's starting to look for him in the corner more lately. Okay. Jabari likes Nicholas Claxton double-double. No way I could talk you off of that, especially with just a little Daniel Gafford down there. David says, happy Friday, brother. I'm liking Claxton for 15 and 10. Thoughts? Yeah, Claxton could have a big game today. I couldn't talk anybody off looking at Claxton at all. Could not talk you off of that, David. Brian says, I tied Nets Bucks money line. Okay. What's up, Brian? He says, have a good weekend. Hope you have a good weekend as well. Tariq says, can only go Nets. Yeah, it was Zay Spaces. Yeah, it was definitely Zay Spaces if you was in there, Vaughn. Meant to say Nick. Okay, all right, cool. Bryce says, Pool over 19.5 points. Tyus over 12.5 points. Nets worst defense rating over the last 7 games, I'm guessing. And 2 of those were against the Pistons. That is something that is kind of telling, man. Their defense has kind of let them down, but you know it's a get right spot when you're playing against the Wizards. I don't have a play on the game though, not a super strong feel on it. Young Harlow says, "Let's get it, bro. Don't get too worried about the notifications, which were all weird. Appreciate them over the Pistons game. Pistons money line cash out was nice. Yeah, it was super nice. Shout out to Zay for doing that. All right, let's get back into the games and then I'll catch back up on the comments. So next game up, because I'm gonna try not to go through all the comments. I'm gonna try to keep it a little bit more to the games. So next game up, we have, let's see what I got next for y'all. I got Knicks and I got Magic. So another game I don't really have too strong of a feel for. I will say this: if I had to play the game, I would be I would take the Magic on the money line in this spot. I do think that. Hold on for a second. Mark Williams doubtful. Okay, that's for the later game. So Magic and the Knicks. The Magic are 1.5 point favorites at the crib. This total was 2. I think it's still 226.5. At least the last time I saw it was 226.5. So immediately when I saw this, Orlando, they do have Gary Harris and Jonathan Isaac listed as questionable. Immediately when I saw this game, I was like, oh, I'm taking the over. I'm about to take the over. And then I thought about it like, nah, it's kind of 2 slow-paced teams. We know that we know that the Knicks, they have not been able to really get a lot of stops. They've been 7-3 to the over since Mitchell Robinson went out. Those games are averaging 236 points between the two teams in the 10 games that Mitchell Robinson has missed this season. For the Knicks, this is the first leg of a back-to-back. They actually got the Pacers tomorrow. That's going to be a hell of a game. Then for Orlando, it's also a third game in 4 nights. It's the second game for them back home after that West Coast road trip. And and they have a West Coast road trip coming up. They actually play in Phoenix on New Year's Eve. So they're off tomorrow, and then they go to Phoenix to play on New Year's Eve. Looking at the last 10 matchups between these two teams, 8 of the last 10 have actually gone under, including the last 5 in a row. That was something that also kind of kept me off taking this full game to go over. But I do think Mitchell Robinson being a part of those games does influence that. So I still kind of lean towards the over. I know it's 226.5 right now. I just think that watching the Knicks, they've been playing with a lot more pace without Mitchell Robinson. Orlando, they messed us up the other day on the total because we took them to go over against Philly, and they just literally couldn't score the ball in that game. Philly really came in and locked them up. But they were on the second leg of a back-to-back, and they had travel because they were coming from DC in that spot. So I do kind of lean towards Orlando. I think them being at home, helps them in this spot. And I'm not looking to really back the Knicks right now. I know that I typically stay off Knicks games, and I'm staying off this one too. I'm just kind of giving you guys my opinion. But I do think, I wouldn't be laying a 1.5 with the Knicks in this spot. I can't trust the Knicks enough. Like, I think Orlando could win this game with their defense. And Orlando's offense hasn't been as great recently, but I think they got enough to be able to outscore this New York Knicks team. Those are my thoughts on the game. If I had to play anything, it'd probably be Magic team total over 113.5 to kind of stay away from the spread. But if I had to play the spread, I probably wouldn't play the spread. I'd be looking at the money line for the Orlando Magic in this spot. So lean Magic, maybe even first half, not strong enough to play. The Magic, we remember them being like 9-1, 8-2 against the spread in the first half a couple weeks ago. This team has not been good in the first half. They're 3-7 in the last 10, And the Knicks have also been trash. I want to say that they're about 2-8, 3-7, also in the first half of the last 10. I looked at the numbers last night, but didn't write them down. So those are my thoughts. I do kind of lean towards the Magic. I think with these spreads being so close today on a couple of these games, you could just look towards the team total to go over and not necessarily, take a play on the spread to kind of stay off of it. And those are my thoughts on this game. I didn't play for player prop wise. I will tell you guys this: Dante DiVincenzo, I feel like is in a pretty good spot. I think DiVincenzo, being inserted into that starting lineup for Tibbs. We know Tibbs running his starting unit into the ground. He's been seeing extended minutes. So for as of late, I think it's been about 5-6 games since he's been in that starting lineup. He's coming off the 17-point game against Oklahoma City. He had 11 against the Bucks on Christmas. He had a 23-point game against Brooklyn as well. And all of those happened in this last 4. So he had one dud in there. Magic super susceptible to guard play, and opponents that can actually shoot the three. Last game, it was DeAnthony Melton who went off for 22. The game before that was Jordan Poole who went off for 30. So I do kind of lean towards Dante DiVincenzo in this spot. I think he's going to be the guy. We know that, Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson will be looking for him. So those are my thoughts on this game. I didn't get to the window and play the Magic, but that's the way I would look. I would look towards Magic team total over 113.5, maybe some 112.5 out there as well, potentially on the money line also. So those are my thoughts. Let's see what y'all got in the chat. Let's see. Rob Maddox, Jermaine says, what I set them under. What I saw that them Hawks and Kings games go under. Same as I saw the Bulls and Pacers. I love the under, and Kings Hawks need props though. Yeah, I saw that as well, Jermaine. We're gonna get to that game in a second. JC says he liked Cam Thomas over his 21.5 points in this spot. Cam Thomas would ball when nobody's on him, so I couldn't talk you off of that. Ryan says, I'm at the Rockets game tonight. You like anything? I'm leaning Sengun points without Embiid. Yeah, I would look towards him in that spot as well. I think Sengun's been killing, so I couldn't talk you off. He gets a matchup with Paul Reed. He could dominate again tonight. They also gonna be without 2 starters, no Jabari Smith. So we'll get to that game in a second. David says, "Hey, we got to chill on the comments. A lot of games tonight. I need Chris analysis and join the members, join the membership." I appreciate that, David. Yeah, I'm not gonna go through all these. Let's see. Locked. I'll go to the comments on this game. Locked and Loaded says that he's on the Knicks money line, official for him. He says if you look at the Magic and who they face, they've only beat bad teams and lost against good teams. I see them dropping this one here against a good team. I don't know how good I would say the Knicks are, man. I can't. The Knicks are very, very volatile in my estimation. It's one of the reasons why I kind of stay off of that game. He also says I can't see anybody guarding Brunson or Randle. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. Michael says DraftKings has Orlando +1. What's up, Big Mar? Appreciate you for being here. Coop says he likes the Dante DiVincenzo look. Yeah, DiVincenzo I think is at 8.5, 9.5. That's the way I'd be looking. Super low, and I think it's a buy low spot. One thing I'll say real quick is that just for like tip, like we'll call it the tip of the day. The longer the season goes, the harder it's going to be to find value with these player props. The books are going to set the line right on the numbers. So if you think that they're going to go over, you better hope that they're going over by 3 or 4 and not by 1, right? Like if I'm looking at Jason Tatum and his points prop 27.5, and I go through and look at his line and he averaging 27, 28, like that tells you that, the line is going to be super sharp. So what do you do in that? You try to look for the value, right? You look for guys that's going to get playing time because another player is injured. That's going to get increased minutes. That's going to get increased shot attempts. And that's why you try to play on some of these role players like a Dante DiVincenzo or, a DeAnthony Melton, who I'm going to talk about in a couple seconds. Tariq says, you think Raptors is a public dog? Kings got smoked by the Celtics in that back-to-back after the overtime session. I was thinking about that, Tariq. That's one of the reasons why I didn't pull a trigger. I actually had Raptors last night plus 10.5. I had a Raptors plus 10.5 in the bet slip on Sports Illustrated. Sports Illustrated they be tweaking with the lines that they be putting out. And I didn't press the button. Did not press the button. But I capped the game. I saw that the Raptors always get smoked by the Celtics. I said, oh man, they could come out here. I don't like this Raptors team, so I'm not sure. We'll get to the game though. Bitsy says going back to Milton. Brian says Magic with a rest day. Magic with the rest. Magic with the day's rest. A pretty good spot, I think is what he means. All right, so let's get back into it. Like I said, I'm not trying to go through all the comments today. Next game, I'm just gonna give you guys my insights on these games. So next game, we got Kings and we got Hawks. This is a extremely high total. Total open at 250 is up to 252. Spread open with actually I saw like at a pick. Atlanta was laying 1. It came down to a pick. You can really get whatever number you want, no matter what side, because the Kings are favored in some places, and it's a pick at some places as well. So just take this one on the money line, whatever side you're looking at. And it's a difficult game for Atlanta. DeAndre Hunter will still be out. The Kings are pretty healthy. For anybody who watched the NBA show on NBA TV last night after the game, they did have De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis in the studio last night with I can't remember all the guys. I think it was Steve Smith and Greg Anthony and all those guys were there, and they were talking about, just talking about the Kings. The Kings, they were talking to the guys about their season, is what I should say. But I couldn't really get any tidbits from, what they're going to do. What I will tell you is this. These are two pretty mediocre teams. Sacramento 6-7 straight up, and 7-6 on the road. Second game of a 3-game road trip. They play in Memphis on New Year's Eve. And Atlanta, they've been absolutely terrible, man. You faded this team every single game against the spread. You made a lot of money, almost like Detroit. They're 12-18 on the season, just 4-8 straight up at the crib. 1-11 against the spread at home as well. I thought that was a misprint. And 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games. They actually play in DC on New Year's Eve, so no real look-ahead spot. Head-to-head, I know somebody mentioned it in the chat. Atlanta has won and covered the last 4 matchups. For some reason, they play well against Sacramento. And the last 6 matchups have actually gone towards the under. And it's crazy to think, because when you think back to when you think about Atlanta and you think about Sacramento, I know the first thing I'm thinking about is, I'm taking the over. I got to be looking towards the over if I can get any kind of an edge at all. But, before totals used to be like an average of 243, 245 with the Pacers being so good and the Wizards defense being so bad. Bruh, 245 was actually a high total last year. Sacramento and Atlanta actually went under 245 last season. They also faced off twice last season. The other total was 241.5, and they actually went under that total as well. And somebody mentioned this in the chat, and I had already looked into it as well. 227.5 under, 228.5 under, 232.5 under, 239.5 under. So they, for whatever reason, Atlanta doesn't score as many points against Sacramento. Sacramento defense has been absolutely trash, though. They just got smoked against the Portland Trailblazers. I'm not like Sacramento is like that. Look, like they like the little brother, where like you're trying to get him advice and tell him what they need to do wrong, and the little brother is like like Mike Brown. He's trying to tell them what to do right. They're just not listening. Like he's telling them to, they need to play defense. They need to buy into the system. This team absolutely I watched them get smoked to the Portland Trailblazers. They literally could not get a stop. This is the same Portland Trailblazers team that couldn't score last night against the San Antonio Spurs and had like 4 points in the first quarter. I don't know what to do with this game, man. I think if I had to have a play, I would just probably be looking towards, I think Sacramento is the better team, and I'd be looking towards their team total to go over. I don't think you play the side. That way you're not worried about who win the game, who lose the game. We know that Atlanta's not playing no defense. We know Atlanta plays some of the fastest paced basketball. So I think you only look towards maybe Sacramento and you take their team total to go over. I think that's the best play in this one. Like I said, I do feel like they're the better team. Atlanta can't score the ball. Without DeAndre Hunter, their defense is even worse. I know they got Jalen Johnson back, but I don't think that they slow down at all. I think the other thing I want to mention real quick on this game is last year when they played that game that was in Atlanta, I think I remember that one. I want to say that the first half was extremely high scoring, and I want to say I took the second half to go under. Never mind, I lied, because they scored 60 points in the third quarter and 58 in the fourth quarter. So never mind, I didn't do that. But I want to say if this game does come out, this game is one of those games where typically with high totals, you see a first half that goes over, then the pace slows down, and typically the second half goes under. So if I see a total that's like 265 at halftime, it's probably somewhere where I'm going to get in, maybe if it's even just a half unit on the under for the full game. Because I do think that we see, Atlanta offense not that great to close the game, but they actually can score a lot of points in the first half. So team total for this game, let me see what number I see for you guys real quick. Because if I'm playing this game, that's the way I'm looking. I'm looking at Sacramento team total to go over. Atlanta defense is terrible. I don't see it getting any better without DeAndre Hunter being there. So Sacramento team total 125.5. I think they will have to score 126 in this game. So 125.5. Some 126s out there as well, but Bet Rivers actually got the best number, 125.5 and minus 118. So those are my thoughts. Of course, this is a really good game for props. De'Aaron Fox to go over his points prop. Trae Young's been getting 30 and 10 every single game, although he does not have a great track record against them. But I'll be looking at Sabonis to go over his rebounds plus assists. This is something that's been cashing for Sabonis. I think Sabonis is averaging 11.2 rebounds and 9.4 assists in his last 5 games. Now he gets an Atlanta team that's bottom 10 in rebounding, top 5 in pace. So it's a pace up spot. I think Capella going to struggle to guard him here, and I do anticipate he'll be out there making plays and rebounding the basketball. So I like Sabonis over his rebounds and assists. Didn't get there. It's sitting in the best slip, but that's would be the player prop that I like the most in this one out of all the ones that I looked at. Couldn't talk you off. Like I said, Trae's been cooking. Maybe some, DeJounte Murray, maybe some, maybe even Sabonis triple-double could be in play for this one. Those are my thoughts on this game. I think he has the most value in my eyes. And Kevin Huerter. I see somebody mentioning in the chat. Kevin Huerter is back. He's back in Atlanta. So, yeah, we know what that means to him. Bogdanovich as well. I always forget about Bogdanovich. Bogdanovich can really shoot that ball, and the Kings' defense is terrible. So I'll be looking at Bogdanovich over his points prop. He's an extremely volatile guy. But if he comes off the bench and hits the first couple, he could be in a game in a matchup where he scores 30. Shadow says, I like Sabonis assists in this one. Also lean DeJounte Murray points. A Go Young DJ says, anytime Paulo line is 23 to 25 and above, it's best to fade it. He typically seems to not go over when his line is high. Yeah, it's like stocks, Go Young DJ. All these player props are like stocks. When they get too high, you sell them. You take the under. When they get too low, you buy on them, right? Because we don't know what's going to happen. That's why you play the prop when you think that there's value in the line. Absolutely. Vaughn says, like to hurt a ladder, but playing it light. Volume has been what I want. Volume has been what I wanted, but also a revenge game. Michael says, Huerter over 9.5 points. I'd be looking at Kevin Huerter to go over, and it's 9.5 points as well. I know he came off again. I think he scored like 5, and it could be because he was looking at a potential look ahead spot when he was playing in Portland the other day. Brian says he likes Atlanta first quarter, first half with Sacramento travel time. Do you think they come out a little sluggish? This is the reason why I say no, Brian. So Atlanta they are better in the first quarter and the first half than they are throughout the full game. This is the reason why I say no. Sacramento got smoked. One thing I did hear De'Aaron Fox say last night was he said, Coach Mike Brown had them in practice doing defensive slides last night, like one-on-one, like guard your man type stuff. So to me, that tells me that, Sacramento could be extremely locked in this game. And like I said, I'll probably be looking towards them on the money line or taking their points prop to go. Taking their team total to go over. That's the way I kind of think about this one. And it could mean they jump out early. Who knows, though? Like I said, this game is a toss-up. That's why you see the spread there. Let's see. Vaughn says, love Ice Trae assist tonight. Not a lot of great individual defenders on the Kings team. I agree there. Damian says, sneaky. Like Huerter back in Atlanta tonight. Maybe he wakes up from 3. They're at 1.5 at minus 110. He likes his 3 at plus 240 and his 4 at plus 500. I do think that could absolutely cash today. I do think Kevin Huerter could have a really, really big game today. Locked and Loaded says he's on the Kings money line. He says Murray on the trade block. Hawks can play defense, so they always can give up a game. I think he meant to say Hawks can't play defense. They can always give up a game. Kings play defense slightly better, and after getting whooped by the Timberwolves, I agree there. I definitely agree there. Vaughn says, speaking on the Portland and the Kings game, the Trailblazers look like the Rasheed Wallace team that night. They got whatever it is they wanted. I would agree there. Kings also 4-1 as away underdogs. They open as underdogs. Yeah, I agree there. I do agree with that sentiment. Locked and Loaded. This Kings team is like, they're just so inconsistent. I remember when the Kings beat the Lakers in LA, like smoked us. And then you lose to Portland. Like, oh man, NBA is volatile right now, man. Jermaine says team total sounds good, my boy, for the Kings, but I think I'm gonna stick with the under trend. I couldn't talk you off. Maybe Atlanta team total under. maybe that's the best look. Atlanta, the ones that can't score. If you go back and look at the lines like you were talking about, Atlanta scored 117, 106, 104, 102, and 108, 106. So for whatever reason, Atlanta can't score against Sacramento. Sacramento's scoring though. They scored 120, 121, 115. Maybe Atlanta team total to go under. We're talking about a little bit more. What's up, Easy Money? David says, do you trust Capella or Oyeka Okongwu to guard DHOs all night? Dribble handoffs? No, I do not. He says this game is a player prop heaven. Might have 6 players score 20 points. I could see that. I could definitely see that. Let's see. What up, S-Dot? S-Dot got a new picture. He says, how about them Heat last night? Your boys definitely cashed last night. I think they cashed the first half and the full game. I know they lost the first quarter by 3. It's 25-22. Brian says, thank you, Chris. If you're taking Sacramento in defense, I like it a lot more. Yeah, I didn't play it now. Don't get it twisted, Brian. I didn't play it, but it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Kings defense is bad though. I couldn't get there. Let's go to the next game. So we got Bucks and we got Cavs. Cavs will be returning back to the crib. Donovan Mitchell is listed as questionable in this one. I didn't see him officially ruled in. If anybody did, y'all let me know because I did not see that before I started the show. He probably gonna go through shoot around and be a game time decision. Right now it says a toss up to play. Sam Merrill also listed as questionable in this spot. So for the Bucks, they are 7-6 straight up and against the spread on the road. This is the 4th and final road game, typically a spot where teams kind of run out of gas. They actually don't play again until New Year's Day. They host the Indiana Pacers again in that little new rivalry between Giannis Antetokounmpo and Tyrese Halliburton. The Cavs on the opposite side, 9-7 straight up, but only 7-9 against the spread at home. They are for whatever reason, 7-3 in their last 10 games, and we know Donovan Mitchell has actually missed the last 4 games. This is the first game back home after a short 2-game road trip. It's a standalone game as well, a spot that doesn't make you like them as much. They actually go back on the road and play in Toronto on New Year's Day, so they have a couple games off as well. To me, like I know the Bucks are coming off the win against the Brooklyn Nets the other day. They smoked them, beat them 142, I think, to 122. But that game was actually a lot closer than what the score appeared until Coach Jacques Vaughn pulled the starters out. So when I'm looking at this game, I know one thing I'm not doing. I'm not laying points with the Bucks on the road. Their defense has been absolutely atrocious. You look at what they're giving up. The right play in this game could just be Cleveland team total to go over. Of course, you would want to wait. Make sure you get the best number. Not 100% sure if Donovan Mitchell's going to play, but I do think that he's been kind of gearing up to play. Donovan Mitchell didn't play in the last game. He was listed as questionable, and that was against the Dallas Mavericks the other day when they won that game. I think with this spread moving, because it opened at 5, and I was actually thinking about taking the Cavs plus the 5. I think the Bucks are going to win the game, but I don't think that they win by margin. I just don't trust this team to be able to play enough defense to win by any margin. You still got Damian Lillard and Malik Beasley out there. And I think, especially if Donovan Mitchell comes back, could he mess up the flow? He could, but I don't think he really messes up the flow. You got Donovan Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade, Jared Allen, Max Strus. You got, especially if Merle comes back off the bench, I felt like you got enough scoring in this spot. And those guys are actually going to play some defense as well. So I kind of lean towards the Cavs in this spot, especially catching six points. If it goes up to 6.5 or Donovan Mitchell's ruled out, I probably will. The Cavs are still going to play hard. I probably will be on the Cavs plus the points in this spot. This was actually one of my favorite plays, but we'll see what happens with Donovan Mitchell. One of the reasons why I kind of waited on this one. And player prop wise in this one, if I had to play anything, I'd be looking towards Chris Middleton. This dude's absolutely been kind of killing it. It's been, the shot attempts for me, 18 against Brooklyn in the last game, 20 against the Knicks on Christmas Day, 16 in the game versus the Knicks before the Christmas Day game against the Knicks. And then those are his last 3 games. He's starting to really kind of put it together as far as like playing consistently. And when I say consistently, I mean like not without like games missed. Remember last year and earlier this year as well, Chris Middleton would like play a game and then be DNP, like he wouldn't play. Just injury management, whatever the case might be. So to me, it just kind of feels like he's kind of finding his groove. He's kind of getting into a really good rhythm. So I'd be playing on Chris Middleton in this spot over 17.5 points. But didn't quite get there. Like I said, player props they've been kind of wacky. So I kind of stayed off the player props, but I do like Chris Middleton in this spot. We also, when I looked earlier, it wasn't a lot of player props available for the Cleveland Cavaliers side. So those are my thoughts on this game. Let me see what you guys are talking about in the chat. It don't look like it's a lot of comments, and then we'll keep it going. Let's see. Vaughn says the Bucks laying 7 on the road. Nah, fam. That defense has been awful all season, especially on the road. And I would agree. Vaughn. Did the spread go up to 7? I didn't see it go up to 7. No, it's just at 6. It says 6. If it did go up to 7, it's definitely come back down to 6. I wish it was 7. I wish it was 7. Yeah, I'm probably gonna get there on the Bucks. I just haven't yet. Like I said, I'm not laying points with. I'm probably gonna get there with the Cavs. I'm probably not laying points with the Bucks. Locked and Loaded says Cavs have been playing good as of late. Didn't invest in it, but I'd take the 6 with the Cavs. I would agree there. I think it's a few too many points. Buffalo says he took Max Strus threes at plus 102. Pretty sure that probably 2.5, 3.5 for Strus. Against the Bucks defense, I would be taking them as well. They're gonna have to score. Bond says he likes Cleveland and Milwaukee first quarter over 59. He says the Cavs have been going over 59 in 6 straight games, averaging 65 points in the first quarter. Bucks have gone over 59 in 9 straight, averaging 64 and over in the 11 of the last 12. These are really good numbers, Vaughn. He also goes on to say, I do like Giannis points or assists or points and assists, 45 and 38 in the last 2 matchups, and no Mobley. I like him and Allen tonight, but if they put Dean Wade on them, that's free food. I would agree. Dean Wade, yeah, it's got to be Jared Allen. And then outside of Jared Allen, maybe Tristan Thompson off the bench just because of his length. He's not going to be able to keep up with Giannis, but he can stop him if Giannis, I wouldn't say stop him, slow him down, at least contest some of his shots. Tristan Thompson is still really, really good big, and he's been playing really, really well from off the bench for people who've been kind of watching and looking at that. Chris, Magic Knicks game is going over. Both teams will be in the 120s. I think so as well, Furs. I haven't gotten there on that either. But I do think that game still goes over. I can't trust the Magic defense right now. Let's keep going. We got Raptors. We got Celtics up next. Where are my notes for this one? So this one is pretty simple, right? You see all the guys listed on the injury report for the Boston Celtics. They put themselves in a really, really bad situation yesterday. Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum had to play big minutes. Al Horford, of course, doesn't play on the second leg of back-to-back games, so he's already ruled out. Porzingis also unlikely to play in this spot. I really hate betting on Toronto. I've talked about this throughout the entirety of the show. One of the more inconsistent teams of the league. But if I probably could go back in time and get that 10.5, I probably would have played it. And that's what the number was last night. Number all the way down now to, I think you guys see 8, but it's actually, I made that banner a couple hours ago before the injury news came out. This spread now is all the way down to 6, I want to say. I think the last time I looked at it, it was what is it right now? Let's see, Boston. Yeah, it's down to 6. The total moved a tad bit from 225.5 down to 224 on some books, 225s on some books as well. So not a lot of movement with the total, but it's not a really good spot for Boston. So the best thing Boston got going for them is that it is a home back-to-back. Of course, you see Toronto, Boston, second game off the overtime last night against Detroit that required them to go to overtime as well. Typically, you don't want to play on a team that's laying points, especially big margins off an overtime game. Detroit looks super formidable, and Detroit actually killed them on the glass last night. For people who were watching that game, I want to say Detroit finished with 18 offensive rebounds, and that was with Boston having everybody, really, really inspiring performance, not win, but inspiring performance from the Detroit Pistons. Boston is, I don't know, man. Boston. But this was the thing that kind of kept me off, though. They have won 6 in a row and covered 3 of the last 4 against the Toronto Raptors. This is this season, Boston actually beat them in the first game. Boston beat them in the first game on November the 11th as well. And for Toronto, it is also a first leg of a back-to-back as well. They play in Detroit tomorrow, and they off the easy win against the Washington Wizards. They beat them by 30 the other day. So one thing I looked at was, and this is what kind of led me to Toronto, but like I said, I didn't quite get there with it. I'm going to just put this in real quick and show you guys so you can see it if you're watching on YouTube. Let me just share my screen real quick. And then I'm not on any player props in this game. I will say that one thing I noticed in the last game was the Toronto coach Radjanovic, I think is his name. He moved Dennis Schroeder to the bench, and Dennis Schroeder had double-digit assists off the bench. So maybe that's something you look at in this spot. It's going to be interesting to see who actually plays and who doesn't play in this game tonight. And as we say, that Keldon Johnson name just pops up on the injury report. He's now downgraded to questionable with the back injury. So this is what I have on the screen. Of course, the line is moved. I was looking at 9 last night, but let's just go 5. So this is what you guys see is teams off. Oh, let me zoom in a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. So this is teams off overtime game where the overtime game was at home, and then they are unrested. They're still at home, and they're laying 5 points or more. You guys can see here they're 8-3 straight up. This is over like the whole database too. So going back to 2012, it hasn't happened that many times, just 11 times. But those teams are just 2-8-1 against the spread. And you can see here, if we zoom out just a tad bit, you can see the ATS losses right here. So the Jazz did smoke the Thunder in this spot, but outside of that, you can see a lot of losses right here. So I think, Toronto should be the right side in this game. They're just not a team that I'm willing to ever, like, it's hardly ever I'm going to put my money on Toronto because I know that they can get smoked. They can absolutely get smoked, not be able to make a shot. They're just extremely inconsistent. So could Boston come out here, smash them like they did, the Sacramento Kings? They could. The difference in that game is that they were really, really pissed off in that game. They had lost the game before against Golden State in overtime. In this game, you probably feel a sense of relief because you were able to get the win versus coming in being motivated off the loss to Golden State in the game that they probably felt like they should have won. So I do think Toronto is the right side in this game. I couldn't bet it though. Toronto is just they're different. They're different. Let me go back to the chat real quick and see what you guys like. I didn't touch player props in this game. I don't think you really until you get all the injury news, unless you like someone on the Toronto side, and I don't. If they're too inconsistent for me on the Toronto side. Let's see. Weeda Webb said Cavs are top 5 in corner threes allowed. How you feel about Malik Beasley? Yeah, I think the Bucks in general could have success against shooting a three. I think a lot of those guys could have success. I will tell you guys this: contrarian Chris for today. I think Damian Lillard goes under his points and assists today. The number just seems a tad bit too high. He hasn't been necessarily hitting consistently. They really relied more on other players, and other players have kind of stepped up. So Damian Lillard doesn't have the greatest track record against Cleveland either. And it's the 4th game of a 4-game road trip as well. So typically a spot where teams kind of, run out of gas and can't wait to get back home. So I think Damian Lillard to go under. I was looking into some of the numbers. He's actually gone under his points and assists recently as well. Quiet Money Will says, what's up, Chris? I'm loving Brook Lopez over 4.5 rebounds in this game. His stats show he has done it 4 out of the last 5. Yeah, Brook Lopez screams inconsistency for me. I wasn't really paying attention to the rebounds. I was looking at his points. I think he had 2, 14, 5, and then he had like 12. And then I want to say last game he had like 2 again. So I can't get there with Brook Lopez on anything. It should be a bounce back spot for him, but not enough for me to put my money on. Easy Money says Raptors first half over 53.5 points. Number went up from 52.5, so he likes that. Tasha says she sees the +6. SK says, sup, Chris? Celtics over 56.5 first half team total. If injury news is good, thinking whether to jump on early was 57.5. I'm kind of tired, SK. Best of luck with whatever you do. Looking at the Raptors games versus the Celtics, they fluctuate. You see one game go over, the next game goes way under. And I think this is all about flow, right? Like Boston should be a little more tired in this spot because their starters got ran into the ground. And it wouldn't surprise me if they rested some guys as well in this spot. The one thing I think that's going for Celtics, you got to keep an eye on this. One thing I think we got to keep in mind for the Celtics, I want to say they are the last undefeated team at home. And, typically, teams want to kind of keep that streak going until the last possible moment. Let's see. Let's look at that real quick. So Home teams, yeah, the Celtics are the last undefeated team. They're 15-0 at the crib so far this season. The Minnesota Timberwolves are 13-1. The Bucks are 16-2. So you got a couple, 2-win teams, 2-loss teams. The Nuggets also 13-2. But this Celtics team is the last undefeated team at home. So they're going to still try to come out and win this game. Toronto is catching them in a really good spot, though. I will say that. And like I said, no spot for me. Vaughn says situation says take the Raptors in this spot, and just how inconsistent they are, they'll come out and lay an egg, staying off the spread. I agree. Steve says Chris Boucher posted on his Instagram page, playtime is over with him coming off the team plane. First serious post from him in a while. Raptors fan says, dare I take Raptors money line today and Pistons money line tomorrow? I will say this. If the Raptors go all out tonight, I probably will be on the Pistons tomorrow. If this game is close, it goes down to the wire, it goes into overtime, any of that, I'm probably going to be on the Pistons tomorrow. We know that the Pistons have a lot. For people who follow the NBA closely, the Pistons have a lot of success against this Raptors team. A lot of the time it was because Dwayne Casey was there. They always won. I know that they got smoked earlier this season, but I could definitely see the Pistons getting off the snide tomorrow, depending on how this game goes tonight. Buffalo says he took the Raptors money line and Barnes 20 points at plus 400 odds. Sam says, great content, Chris. Glad you understand the business of the NBA. What makes it seem likely for the better team to close out? We are looking at potential Eastern Conference Finals matchup for Milwaukee and Cleveland. That's interesting, Sam. I appreciate the compliment. Michael says, hard to take the Celtics after that performance last night, but I wouldn't bet the Raptors with counterfeit money. That's funny. The Raptors, the Celtics are the Celtics. This is what the Celtics are, though. I talk about it on the show all the time. The Celtics are a 3-point shooting team. They love to shoot the three. If it goes in, they look like world beaters. They can't lose a game because they can blow you out. This is the same Raptors, this is the same Celtics team that scored like 40 plus points against the Lakers, who are way better defensively than Detroit. But they were, Christmas Day, you get up for that game, you come home, you play Detroit, not as much, and your 3-point shot not falling. One thing you learned about the Celtics last night, they're going to keep shooting the three. They're going to live with it. They're going to die with it. It wasn't until late in the game they started giving the ball to Jason Tatum on the post, and that's when he started to, put his head down and get to the rim, even Porzingis. But before that, it was a lot of three-pointers from Tatum. He was clanking all of them. It was a lot of three-pointers from Derek White. He wasn't really making them. Drew Holiday, same thing. Porzingis, it was one possession where what's my guy name? Peyton Pritchard missed 3 wide open threes in a row. They just kept giving it back to him. He missed it every single time. Now, one time do you put your head down, try to get to the rim. And that's what the Celtics are. And that's why they're beatable. Because if those shots aren't falling, you really got to rely a lot on your defense. And you kind of got to go against the flow with something that you don't enjoy doing, which is, for me, is them putting their head down and getting to the rim. Let's see. Steve says betting on the Raptors is like playing Russian roulette with 2 bullets. I agree. Let's see. Coop says this should be a Raptor spot. Interesting back-to-back tomorrow for their playoff game versus the Pistons. That's a fact. Coop also says this is again a good spot for the Pistons tomorrow. But if they can get off the losing streak, they will be on pace for the worst team in NBA history. I agree. Call me Aries says, did you have a take on Cam tonight? Cam Thomas, not a real take on him. I can't. If you can figure out when Cam Thomas is going to go off, best of luck. I will say he's in a really good matchup. The Wizards are bottom 10 and bottom 5 in defense, top 5 in pace. They don't have a back-to-back. So, yeah, I could definitely see him going off tonight. I didn't play his props. Scott D-Gen says Scotty Barnes 20 plus. What else? Avery, my guy, he says, don't be surprised when the Celtics wake up tomorrow, no matter who on the court. Raptors really have trouble scoring. Yeah, I would agree there. It could be an under-type game. I agree, Avery. Let's see. All right. Let's keep going. We got a couple more games to get to. We got Sixers. We actually got a lot of games. I got to go faster. We got 76ers and Raptors. This is a game I'm also really interested in. I didn't play it. The spread in this one, let me just check and see if we got an update. Philly, Houston. So Houston is 1.5 point favorites now. Total in this one, shot all the way up from 217.5 all the way up to 224. I almost pulled the trigger on the over last night. This is the reason why I didn't know, is because even though this game could go over, I don't know if the Rockets are going to be able to score. The Rockets are going to be without Jabari Smith Jr. They're also going to be without Dylan Brooks. Tari Eason is also listed as questionable. On the Philly side, Embiid is out. Batum is also out. So that is all the good defensive. Well, not all the good defensive players, but a lot of the good defensive players missing from both sides in this game. Philly, I really want to get there with. They're 9-5 straight up and against the spread on the road, 8-2 in their last 10. Third game of a 4-game road trip. This is why I didn't know. It's the first leg of a back-to-back, and they play a conference opponent tomorrow. They play Chicago tomorrow. And we got to remember, Chicago beat them, right? Chicago beat them. They were laying 10 in that game. Chicago beat them outright. So they may have that one circled tomorrow. Houston, 12-4 at home, 11-4-1 against the spread at home. Just 5-5 in their last 10, though. This team's coming back down to earth. 2 straight losses, third straight home game, and they host Denver on New Year's Day. I'm sorry, they host Detroit on New Year's Day. So my thought process here is Houston needs a win more than Philly does since they're off 2 straight losses. Philly has a conference game tomorrow and a revenge game because, like I said, they lost to Detroit. They lost to Chicago as 10-point dogs about 2 weeks ago. Even with the injuries, though, I think Houston is going to struggle, and I do like Philly in this spot, man. I think Philly is the right side in this game. I didn't play it yet. I'll wait, see what happens with the injury news, but big lean to me towards Philly. Also, I kind of touched on them already, but if I'm playing a player prop in this game, I think you got to go back to DeAnthony Milton in this spot. It's a buy low spot for Milton. He's coming off, a pretty big game against Orlando. He's averaging 18.5 points since Embiid went out during the 2-game stretch. He's playing nearly 37 minutes. We know Nick Nurse also, just kind of like Thibodeau plays his players into the ground. So he's playing nearly 37 minutes, attempting 15 shots per game. I always talk about a shot per point. If I can get a player at 14.5 points and their points prop and they're shooting 15 times a game, I do like the spot for him. Houston going to be without their best defender, Dylan Brooks, Jabari Smith Jr., like I said. So I do expect Fred VanVleet to kind of slide over to Maxey, try to slow him down. And to me, that opens up the range for a guy like DeAnthony Milton. Maybe Tobias Harris as well, but I like Milton in this spot. I think I like Milton more than anybody else in this spot. Did I get there? Nope. Because player props, like I said, they janky, man. But that's the way I'm kind of looking in this one. Back to the comments real quick, and then we'll keep it moving. Mikhail says, playing 2K, my player right now and listening. Tell me why the Hornets are first in the Eastern Conference. Oh, man, you got to start your whole system over. You got to start your whole my player over on 2K, my boy. Let's see. Steve says, my thought the Celtics were acting in the first half to make it an interesting game. Yeah, but didn't you see even when they came back, they still could never gain like a 6 or 7 point lead until overtime happened. Will Jackson says, thoughts. VanVleet over 18.5 points. He's over this 3 of 4 against the Eastern Conference teams. 76ers have given up 18 or more last 4 to 5 to guards, and we know how players wanted to come out and ball on their old coach. I forgot about Fred VanVleet playing for Nick Nurse last year. That's an interesting point, Will. That's pretty interesting. I mean, I think it would be him. I think the other thing that we didn't touch on is you probably could continue to fade Jalen Green in this spot. He's getting less minutes. Not really a good defender like Udoka wants him to be. His points prop is up now. He'll get more usage without Dylan Brooks there and without Jabari Smith Jr., but his points prop went up to 20.5. And he hasn't gone over that, I want to say, in like 10 games. So I think this is correlated, Will. Maybe VanVleet to go over his 18.5, and maybe Jalen Green just continue to go under his 20.5. Locked and Loaded says 76 is official play. Rockets at full strength couldn't score, and now they're without Brooks and Jabari Smith. 76 is getting in. Okay, now I like it. I like it a lot. Brian says 76's team total over 112.5. I think that the 76ers could win with their defense in this spot, Brian. And I'm not sure how motivated they're going to be to play defense in this spot, but Houston really struggles to score. If you go back and look at the games, we talked about this the other day. When Houston lose, it's because they can't keep up with the opposing team to be able to score. On the opposite side, Philly can really beat you with offense, and they can beat you with defense. They went into that game against Orlando and gave up 92 points. So that's one of the reasons why I would kind of stay off this team total, Brian, and probably just look more towards them on the spread. I'm probably going to get there with Philly too. I'm just let you guys know. I haven't put the bet in yet, but I like Philly a lot tonight. I like Cleveland a lot tonight, and I like the Kings a lot tonight. And as difficult as that is to say. He says, Locke says 76 is getting into a rhythm without Embiid. as well after beating the Magic, which I had as well. Okay. Thomas says Milton over his points, rebounds, and assists. The only way I would look. I wouldn't take the under. Quan says Kelly Olynyk bounce back game. I could see that as well. Damian also likes Kelly Oubre. I think I said Olynyk. Kelly Oubre over his 14.5. He says looks good with Brooks being out. Possible 20. Coop says he's running back Milton. Points, rebounds, and assists. Vaughn says between Milton, Oubre, Tobias, somebody will go off. Just got to pick the right one. I agree. What's up, Chris Raptor? He says he took Maxey under his points, rebounds, and assists. He trusts Houston defense in this spot. I don't know if I necessarily trust their defense in this spot, Chris, but I do think that I think you're onto something. Maxey numbers have been extremely inflated since Embiid has went out. He hasn't gone over. He's went under in both games. And the 76ers are a very cohesive unit without Joel Embiid being there. Maxey doesn't have to do as much. And I can see Maxey kind of conserving a little bit tonight to get back at Chicago tomorrow. So I would agree with Maxey going under tonight. If I had to play it, it'd probably be his points, rebounds, and assists to go under because he really hasn't gone over any of those numbers in those last 3 games. So I would agree with you there. Not because I trust Houston defense, but more so because I trust Maxey in the look-ahead spot tomorrow, and I trust the team a little bit more. All right, let's keep going. We got Thunder. We got Nuggets. So this line actually was 3.5 in favor of the home team, the Denver Nuggets. It actually come down to 2.5 now. Well, actually, it's all the way down to 1.5 now. And that's because Michael Porter Jr. popped up on the injury report. And I actually like Michael Porter Jr. in this spot. Reggie Jackson also listed as questionable. Of course, Aaron Gordon is still going to be out with the lacerations to his face and to his hand. Jalen Williams was also, I saw him listed as questionable in this spot. I didn't see him go through shoot around or anything. Somebody let me know if they saw that. OKC's been red hot, 20-9 straight up, 8-4 straight up, and against the spread on the road. Denver, 13-2 at the crib, 8-7 against the spread. They absolutely smoked the Memphis Grizzlies yesterday with Ja Morant being out. This is also a revenge game. I talked about this yesterday, but SGA just hit a game winner. It was about 2 weeks ago, and he was on IG posting pictures and talking like only he does. Ja Morant is not on the injury report, so that spread's about to move. I guess he's feeling a little bit better today, but we'll get to that game in a second. But if you want Memphis, you probably want to jump on it now. It's some 6.5s out there. Luke Kennard listed as doubtful for tomorrow. All right, cool. So going back to this game, I think it's a Denver early spot, but I don't know. I'm having a hard time trusting Denver if they are not going to have like a full squad. So we already know Michael Porter Jr. is ruled out, and you bring in Christian Watson, and that's cool. But when you start to, Michael Porter Jr. now on the injury report, you got Jamal Murray on the second leg of a back-to-back. And granted, they didn't have to play big minutes last night because when I say they blew them out, like they won the first quarter by like 5 or 7. They won the first quarter by 4. They won the second quarter by like 10. They won the third quarter by like 10. So it was like a 24-point game going into the fourth quarter. And I think they ended up winning the game by like 35. So the starters didn't play a lot last night on that first leg of a back-to-back, the revenge game. And then you got OKC first road game since December the 16th. The last time they played a road game, December the 16th, was when they played in Denver. So they literally went home for 5 games, 5 straight games. Now they play 5 straight home games. Now you catch them on the road. I do think Denver in the first quarter, in the first half, is the best spot. We always talk about playing Denver. If you're going to do it, you want to play them early because their margin is always bigger at the beginning of the game. SGA going to play most of the first quarter. So is Jokic. But I do need Michael Porter Jr. in here. I'm getting it to me is a tad bit concerning because to me it kind of feels like OKC actually has the better bench in my estimation when I'm talking about these two teams, especially when you got to throw Peyton Watson in the first unit. Then you got Najee playing in the second unit. It's just not a lot of scoring in that second unit. With Christian Braun, you got Strother in there, but he's kind of up and down in his rookie year. So those are my thoughts, man. If Michael Porter Jr. is going to play in this spot, I do like Denver early. I don't know if I trust Denver in the full game, but it's a spot that they should turn up in. I was actually liking Michael Porter Jr. over his points plus rebounds in this spot without Aaron Gordon being in there. But like I said, it's not a great spot at all without Michael Porter Jr. on the second leg of a back-to-back is what I'm thinking in this one. Couldn't talk anyone off Jokic. Jokic could absolutely go crazy in this spot. We know that OKC is one of the worst rebounding teams. I think Jokic rebounds is like 13.5. Cannot talk anybody off. Playing his over rebounds plus assists, maybe his whole PRA. If he's out, if Michael Porter Jr. is, indeed ruled out, probably just hop on Jokic points, rebounds, and assists, because he's going to have to do a lot for this team. And he plays extremely hard every single time he plays. And it's a front leg, like I said, of a back-to-back, but it's a home back-to-back. Let's see. How about Dame today? I don't like Dame today, Robert. Do not like Dame today. I think the Cavs been playing a little bit better defense. I think Dame could go under today. I didn't play it, but those are just my thoughts. Shadow says, I really like Jalen Williams over 17.5 points. If he plays, he got everything he wanted at the rim versus Jokic last game. Also, no Gordon to help. I agree with those sentiments. Peyton Watson will be there. Najee will be down there to help as well. Vaughn reminding us that Morant is off the injury report. D-Gen says John Morant had altitude sickness. He could have. Vaughn says, haven't played many first quarters, knowing Denver lost the game winner. I think they could come out early with emphasis, but I need MPJ in, especially since Gordon is already ruled out. Those are my thoughts. Quiet Money Will says he likes SGA. He says loving SGA over his 38.5 points, rebounds, and assists in this spot. Locked in Loaded Sportscast says this is truly a toss-up game. I want to lean Nuggets first half, but I need to get to the window. But I might not get to the window because Thunder are so good. I would agree there as well. Arthur says, thanks, Chris, for all the insight you give. Thanks again. I appreciate the comment and the kind words. Arthur, do me a favor and hit the like button for me if you haven't already. And that goes for everybody. Hit the like button if you can. I've been talking these games out for an hour. Just kind of giving you guys my notes, giving you guys my thought process. Shadow says he took Jokic at 6 rebounds last night versus OKC. I remember because it killed my parlay. Oh, Jokic had 6 rebounds last game versus OKC because it killed his parlay. Yeah, he should rebound the ball better in this spot. The guy that's probably not being mentioned, that should be mentioned, is probably Chet in this game. Remember, Chet had 8 blocks in this game against the Denver Nuggets in the last game. And he he had a really good game. I think his rebounds sitting at 7.5. He had 10 in the last game. He's gonna have to play big, and stay out of foul trouble against Jokic. So we'll see how it goes. Malik says, Chris, I saw Craig with the Thunder as away dogs covering the spread. You see anything like that? I did not look, if I'm being honest with you, Malik. I can look real quick. Let's see. Team equals Thunder and away dogs, maybe. Just looking at that. So when they're road dogs this season, yeah, Thunder are good. They are 5-2 straight up. That's straight up as a dog. 71% of the time they cash in. They're 5-1-1 against the spread. Depending on where you got the number against the Timberwolves, they were catching 3 and they lost that game by 3. So yeah, you're right, Malik. 5-1 against the spread. They're winning those games. When they're dog, they're winning by an average of 5 points. So yeah, it could be a bad spot if Michael Porter Jr. doesn't play in this game. But I do think, with them having 5 straight home games, typically you want to fade that team in the first quarter in the next game. And, Denver should be extremely motivated in this spot. We'll see who end up playing or not, though. All right, so we got, 2 more games left? 1 more game left? 3 more games left. Real quick. I don't got anything on some of these games, but let's just go through them. So Hornets and Suns. All right, so Brandon Miller listed as probable. Gordon Hayward is out. Mark Williams is also out. The Charlotte Hornets they've been pretty bad, man. They did cover against the Clippers the other day. They got smoked against my Lakers last night. 3-10 straight up on the road. 5-9 against the spread. Second leg of a back-to-back. Third game in 4 nights. Third game of a 6-game road trip as well. Phoenix on the opposite side. This team has not been great at home. 5-11 against the spread. First game of a 4-game homestand for them. They're coming back home off the big win against the Houston Rockets, where they absolutely needed to get right after getting smoked by the Dallas Mavericks on their Christmas Day game. Phoenix have won 5 in a row against this team, and they covered 4 of the last 5 numbers. But this number is absolutely, humongous. Bradley Beal is going to play in this game. He's going to make his return, and you see the spread, go up even more. This was at 15 last night when I was looking, and now you see it all the way up to 16 at some books, 15.5 total. Come down from 232. From 234.5 to 232. So the books don't expect the Phoenix Suns they expect the Phoenix Suns to score a lot of points. They expect the Charlotte Hornets to score not as many. I can't lay 16, but it is a spot where Phoenix could absolutely smoke the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, this could be a 25-point win where you see Charlotte just kind of run out of gas. And that's what happened in the second half yesterday. You see those tired legs really tend to catch up in the second half. Charlotte actually won the first quarter against the Lakers. They covered the first quarter and the first half last night, and they absolutely got smoked in the second half of that game. They did go over their team total barely, but the Lakers got whatever it is that they wanted. They scored 133 points in that spot. So if you want to stay off the full game, or maybe you just wait and you play either the spread or the team total at halftime, I think that the total number of points for the Phoenix Suns last night, the number was already like unplayable for me. But Phoenix team total right now, actually, it's not unplayable. It's 124.5. I think this is a spot where they could give up 130 points. I'll probably end up playing Phoenix on the team total. I do think it's a spot where they absolutely going to turn up in this spot. I think Charlotte's going to turn the ball over in this spot just from, having inexperienced guys out there, Bryce McGowans and guys like that. I think they're going to turn the ball over. It's a spot where Terry Rozier could absolutely, not show up, because they also get Joshua Okogie back, I think, in this spot. So spread should be in play. Team total should be in play. I'm probably going to end up putting a little bit on Phoenix team total over the 124.5. I know that the number is big, but it's big for a big reason. Like I said, second leg of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights with travel, and you just got smoked last night. You gave up 130 points to the Lakers. You can give up 130 points to the Phoenix Suns. So that's the way I kind of view this game. And let's go to the comment section real quick. Let's see. Parlay, Milton, and Fox Stills. Nadir said he did that. He says he loves Milton Stills tonight. Raptors fan letting us know that Bill is available. Trey says, when are we going to get a good slate again? Adam Silver needs to cook something up, man. I agree, Trey. It's been pretty bad, man. Between the injuries and the NBA has not been enjoyable. It's actually been hard to kind of cap these games sometimes, but I'm always trying to find some way to cash some tickets, man, and make some money. Coop says Hornets in a bad plus Suns laying too much. Stay off of him. Don't hate the team total overlook. Yeah, I think it's team total over. I think it's definitely team total over. If you stayed off the Lakers game last night, spread wise, and just took their team total over, they cashed. But it's a game where they should run out of gas. They absolutely should run out of gas. The spread's big for a reason. It's definitely big for a reason. And it's an out-of-conference game. Nobody expecting the Hornets to do much in this spot. All right, so next game up, we got Spurs. We got Blazers. This game I absolutely don't have anything on. I'll tell you guys this. The Spurs are bad, man. This team is bad, but the Blazers team, absolutely. Chauncey looked like, I was watching the game last night, man. First quarter, I watched this team. They were down 18-4 to the Spurs of all teams. Chauncey looked a lot like Joe Mazzulla last night in the first half of that Detroit game. He just looked like, this can't be happening to me. This is not real life. The Blazers in this game, let me just go through and look real quick, because I actually don't have a lot of notes on this game at all. It is, of course, this is the back-to-back that we just kind of talked about. So Anthony Simons is a game-time decision. DeAndre Ayton is also a toss-up to play. Not sure if these guys are going to play or not, and I don't think you can really play the game without it. The biggest thing is in this one, we talked about this yesterday, is that you don't have Victor Wembanyama as a part of this game. Victor Wembanyama played yesterday. He's taking this game off. So Portland should absolutely score more points, because they couldn't score a bucket last night, and they actually couldn't make a three either. So, the odds are that Portland reverts back to the mean just a tad bit. They're able to shoot the ball. They're able to score points in this spot. You see, what's his name? Devin Vassell. Not Devin Vassell, I'm sorry. You see Keldon Johnson, who's been coming off the bench, get downgraded to questionable in this spot. That's not good for them. I can't play this game, though. No way I could play this game. These teams are really, really bad. Combined 13 and 47. I can't play this game. Spurs are really, really bad, though, but they play really well last night. So typically you probably want to fade them in this spot. And that's really all I got on this game. And you definitely need to know the news of DeAndre Ayton and Anthony Simons. If they're in, I'll probably just look towards Portland team total to go over. But if they're out, definitely staying away from the game. Probably not going to play it either way. Vaughn says he gave out that team total over 123 in his Discord last night. Let's see. Scotty says, told y'all to take Scoot last night. He was going to show up Wemby. I'm going back to him tonight when they post his lines. I could see that. Locked and Loaded Sportscast says, would the over look good in this game, Chris. The problem with the over to me is what I said yesterday. And I know the Spurs scored yesterday, but that was with Victor Wembanyama on the floor. Now you got Keldon Johnson being downgraded. You also don't got Victor Wembanyama on the floor. Who's scoring for the Spurs? I mean, they got Champagne in there with Malachi Branham and Jeremy Sohan. I saw Jeremy Sohan miss a shot yesterday by 4 feet. Like it didn't touch the rim, the net, nothing. I can't trust the Spurs to score in this spot. I know that they're playing the Blazers, but the Blazers should be a little motivated in this one after getting smoked last night. The Blazers they're bad, but they're not as bad as they were last night. But you also need to wait on the news with Aiden and Simon. So those are my thoughts, man. I got a lot of other better things to do than bet on the Spurs and the Blazers. I'll tell you guys that. I'm not trying to force anything. Coop says Blazers play one of the worst first quarters I've seen this season, and the Pistons exist. Classic zigzag theory. Maybe Blazers first quarter. It should be a Blazers first quarter. I would agree. You see some of these guys popping up on the injury report right now. DeAndre Ayton just got ruled out. Shaedon Sharpe just got ruled out. Anthony Simons also ruled out. Jabari Walker is in. Kamara is questionable. To me, this tells me Chauncey's trying to throw the game too. He's like, oh, you're not playing Victor Wembanyama? Okay, cool. I'm about to say 4 players too. Let's see who wins. I'm not, man. This is a 24-hour fitness game, like Chris says in the chat. Matter of fact, let's get off of this game, man. If we spent 5 minutes talking about it, if we spent 5 seconds talking about this game, we talked about it too long. Next game up, last game on the card. This is a nationally televised game. We got the Grizzlies and we got the Clippers. So this line was actually at 6.5. Like I said, if you wanted it, if you wanted the Grizzlies, you probably should have got in on them when we talked about it. It was 6.5 at that point. The number's all the way down to 4.5 on all books right now. Total is creeping up from 225.5 up to 227.5 as well. And that's of course with Ja Morant not being on the injury report. So Ja Morant's probably going to play. We're still waiting on the news with Kawhi. I didn't see Kawhi when I was capping the game last night. I said I definitely can't play this one because he's still a toss up to play. Santi Aldama also listed as questionable. Derrick Rose, I think, is listed as doubtful. Luke Kennard's not going to play in this one either. But Memphis, I mean, you probably want to get that bad taste out your mouth. Here's my notes on the game. So Memphis, they are 4-1 straight up since Ja Morant's return. You could say 4-0 straight up in Ja Morant's return in the games that he's actually played, because he wasn't part of that massacre last night that happened in Denver. This is the third game in 4 nights. It's the second leg of a back-to-back. And the New Orleans games actually went to overtime the other day as well. We got to remember that. It affected maybe not Ja Morant as much, but Ja Morant, it affected everybody else, though. This is the 4th straight road game as well. So typically a spot you want to fade a team like the Memphis Grizzlies. You take the names off the jerseys, it's not a good spot for Memphis in this game. I know Ja Morant's their heart and soul, but even if he comes back, if Kawhi plays, I think I like the Clippers in this spot, and I'm probably going to end up getting here. The Clippers are 12-4 at home, and they're 8-8 against the spread. We see this all the time with the Clippers. They play down the competition. When they playing against a team that has a 40% win percentage or lower, they don't cover. They didn't cover against the Charlotte Hornets the other day. We see them lose outright to the Denver Nuggets without Jamal Murray, without Aaron Gordon, without Jokic. Like, this is what they do. But when it's competition teams that come into play, that's when the Clippers typically play their best basketball. So one thing I looked at was, I'll pull this up on the screen real quick and I'll read it out to you guys so you can see it. And then I'm actually going to get ready to get up off here because I've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes. So looking at this game, let me just put this in real quick. And then I'll read this off to you guys and tell you what I was kind of looking at. So share my screen. So this is teams playing their third game in 4 nights, but also on the second leg of a back-to-back. They're road dogs, and they're playing a conference game. And this is also their 4th game of a road trip. So where was it? If you guys can see here at the bottom, the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, last 8 times it's happened, all of these teams have not only not covered the spread, not won the game, but they've also lost, haven't covered the spread or didn't win the game. I think John Morant being back in is definitely, you know, good. I don't think you definitely don't want to underestimate this Memphis Grizzlies team, but the Clippers are in a much better spot in my estimation. I also looked at one other thing real quick. I wanted to show you guys this as well. I don't even know if I wrote this down. Oh yeah, I did. So teams that we kind of talked about this the other day when we were talking about the Houston Rockets and the Houston Rockets and the Phoenix Suns. The Houston Rockets were coming off that game against the Pacers. So I kind of went in and looked at it from that perspective as well. Teams are actually 4-1 to the over after playing the Nuggets if they're unrested in the next game this season. Since the start of last season, those teams are 7-2 to the over if they're coming off a game where they played in Denver and they're unrested. And I think it's something to that, right? Like you're coming off a game with high altitude, and then, you know, your defense is probably going to be a little lax in that spot. So I think Clippers team total over in this spot is probably the best play right now. That number is 115.5. I think that the Clippers could get there, but the Clippers are one of those teams where they play really good defense and they don't always have to beat you with their offense. They can sometimes beat you with their defense. You see the Grizzlies team total at 111.5. So those are my thoughts on the game. If I had to make a play, especially with the number coming down, I would still lean towards the Clippers. I think the Clippers can get the job done in this spot. I know John Morant hasn't lost a game since he's come back. The Grizzlies haven't lost a game that he's played in since he's come back. He is fresh, but the rest of this team is not. The Clippers are also the much more deeper team. I mean, they still got guys like Norman Powell coming off the bench. You still got Westbrook out there as well. Memphis don't really have a lot off their bench. So I like, and they're going to be tired. Their bench played heavy minutes last night along with the starters, kind of combination of both. So I like the Clippers in the spot. I think it's a Clipper spot for sure. So those are my thoughts. If I had to go back real quick, let me just give you guys. So I haven't played anything yet. Matter of fact, let me go through the comment section real quick. Let's see. Coop says, Scoop cashed his points and assists with points alone. Shocking. Depends on Simon's news, but may run it back. Yeah, Simons is out. So that's Scoop. Scoot Henderson points. It's probably gone, right? It's probably off the table right now, but it's definitely a good play. Scoot could potentially have a triple-double in this game. Like, this could be like a big Scoot Henderson game, especially when you don't got Victor Wembanyama out there rebounding the basketball. Matter of fact, let's see what we can get Scoot points at real quick before it gets too crazy. Yeah, it's not open. The book's smarter than that. They took it completely off. They took all the props off for Portland. Scotty says Zach Collins 15, Scoop 15 parlay. Keith says players among the league leaders in pace have cashed their rebound line versus the Blazers. Denny Avdia and De'Aaron Fox smashed their lines. Last game I took Vassell. Today I'm taking Trey Jones. Okay. Chris says tomorrow Drummond versus Embiid if he plays. Yeah, we'll see that. Thomas says, Chris, any thoughts on Capella over his 13.5 points and assists? I like the Clippers. If I'm playing Capella, I'm never looking at his assists. I've never seen Capella get assists, I don't think, in my life. So I'm not sure why you add an assist, but I could be missing something. I don't really have any thoughts on his points either. I would have to go through and kind of look at it. I haven't really dug deep enough to give you any kind of advice based on my numbers. I haven't done enough research. Coop says running back Scoot it is. Ja Morant stocks is a sneaky play by been covering since he's been on the revenge tour. Okay. Vaughn says Clippers -1.5 in the second quarter and team total over 28. Grizzlies are 6-24 straight up by a margin of -5.7, 0-11 straight up, and in their last 11 with a margin of -8.9, even with 4 games with Ja Morant with a margin of 11.8. I saw this as well. I'm glad you mentioned this, Vaughn. I didn't write it down. For some reason, well, I think I know the reason. The Clippers have been getting smoked in this. I'm sorry, the Grizzlies have been getting smoked in the second quarter. And you know what the reason why? Because Ja Morant been going to the bench. He ain't been in the game, and then you got to rely on those other players. And I do feel like their coach is probably still trying to figure out how to stagger the minutes between him and Desmond Bane to keep some scoring out there. So I would agree with that. Avery says Clips -4. Got wild breakdown, but I know you limited on time. Okay. Vaughn says Clips top 5 in points last 15 games, 10 in last 10 games and last 5 games, 8-3 straight up. in their last 11 with the margin of 5.3. Clippers averaging 33.7 points in that span. Grizzlies have allowed 28 or more in 9 straight games. I could not talk you off. Avery says he likes the Clippers. I'm glad we got some agreement here. He says Los Angeles Clippers -4. Clips coming to this game with 2 days off versus Memphis on the back-to-back. The Clippers playing some good basketball, in my opinion. One of the best teams out west. Ja Morant playing here is the national TV game, and the public will see that and see when Ja Morant plays, they are 4-0 straight up and against the spread, and they will see that +6 or even lower and be all over them, but not so fast. Memphis beat this Clippers team without Ja Morant, 105-104. The Clippers will remember that, and it was a fresh off a James Harden trade. I do remember this. I remember this as well, Avery. On the back-to-back, you need depth, and Memphis don't have that. Avery wrote a lot. He also says, I expect players like Brody, which is Westbrook for people who don't know, and Powell to destroy Memphis' second unit since the Clippers -4 catch at the window, folks. Catch you at the window, folks. Yeah, I'm with you there, Avery. I'm probably going to end up on the Clippers. I was waiting for him to get ruled in. Now, here's the thing. If Kawhi gets ruled in, then the line's going to go back up. So Kawhi hasn't gotten ruled in, and this is the last game of the night. So you got to figure out if you want to play it now and you hope that, Kawhi is going to be ruled in, or if you just kind of want to wait. I don't like the Clippers without Kawhi. I will tell you that. They look like a shell of themselves on offense sometimes, and they get really, really stagnant without Kawhi being out there to kind of take the shots that only Kawhi can make. Kawhi is a difficult shot taker and a difficult shot maker for sure. Sabonis 20 boards in this, over 20 boards. Yes, big Mark. That's my favorite player prop in that game. Domantas Sabonis over 20.5 points plus. Rebounds plus assists in that game is what I would play, but I didn't play it. Luis says, any thoughts on the Nuggets Thunder's total? Lean under in the game. Both sides take seriously. Agreed, Luis. That's my thought process. I know that this total got steamed up, but these games go under. They go under all the time. And, we talked about Denver being a really good defensive team. If Michael Porter Jr. doesn't play, that's going to actually probably make their offense a little bit worse. So the total should drop even more. They didn't exert a lot of energy yesterday on the defensive end. So without their, scores, I do think that they could, probably lock in a little bit more on the defensive end, Luis. I would only look to the Nuggets and the Thunder to go under as well. I actually had that on my short list, but didn't quite get there with it. Let's see. I like Brody tonight also. Markelle liking Westbrook props. Made Philly money line official, Trey says. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, those are my thoughts. So real quick, I always like to go through and just do a recap for people who joined late, just to kind of give you guys my thoughts. Corey says Kawhi didn't go through shoot around. Do you think he sits? I'm not sure, man. He's been playing a lot of games, but with the Clippers, they probably try and be precautious as possible because they don't want him to get injured again. Kawhi plays and then he doesn't play. And then he plays and then he doesn't play. You don't want him to tweak anything. So I think they're being super precautious with Kawhi. And they're only going to bring him back if he really, really, 100% is what I would think in this scenario. Because you don't want him, missing games and then playing games and re-aggravating stuff. So I could see Kawhi potentially sitting in this one. We'll see how it goes, though. We'll see. So real quick, what I play segment, nothing. I haven't placed a bet yet, but I will tell you guys, I'm going to play a couple bets. It probably won't be anything too big because I do feel like a lot of these teams are evenly matched today, or at least in my cap, they're evenly matched. But if I'm going back through it and I'm looking at all the games, let's just start at the top. First game on the board today, the Nets and the Wizards. I could only lay the 6 points with the Nets. I know they haven't been great. Maybe a Nets team total to go over. But remember what I said. The Wizards have gone under their team total in both games versus the Nets this season, and they didn't even score 100 points in either one of those games. So just something to kind of take into consideration. This total is going up. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, even though the Wizards have been really, really bad on defense. I think it's a game where we can see it under. I think the Nets can also cover in this spot. Not strong enough to put my money on either, though. What else? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even read this earlier. Nets team total over 123.5 is what I had written down last night. Washington is allowing an average of 128 points per game at home. They're playing at the third fastest pace in the league. They're bottom 3 in defensive rating. Last 5 games, they've given up 143 to the Kings, 117 to the Blazers, 129 to the Warriors, 127 to the Magic, and 132 to the Raptors. I I don't even remember writing this down last night. I was probably asleep. The Nets are 4-1 to the over, playing teams that play at a pace greater than 100 this season. They're averaging 126 points per game in this spot across 5 games. So that's what I actually had written down as my lean yesterday. I didn't last night. I capped these games at like 2 o'clock this morning. So that's, I guess, what would be my top play. Nets team total over 123.5 would be my top play in that game. Knicks in the Magic. I like the Magic. I think if I play them, I play them on the money line here. But I do think that they're the better team. I think that they've been off the home loss, being back at home. I do think they can beat this inconsistent Knicks team. So I like the Magic. Didn't quite get there with them either. The Kings and the Hawks, man, this is a toss-up type game right here. I think if I had to play anything, it'd be Sabonis over his rebounds plus assists at 20.5. Definitely shop around to get the best number. But if I'm playing the side, it's still got to be Kings. They're still better than the Hawks to me. We know that the Hawks turn up at the crib on Friday. That used to happen. Not really as much this season. This team is 1-11 against the spread at home and just 2-8 in their last 10 games. Kings also off 2 losses in a row. They got smoked to the Timberwolves. They got smoked to they got smoked to Portland. I think they did beat the Phoenix Suns in there. Somewhere in there. But yeah, I do think that the Kings are the right side in that game. I might put a little something on the Kings tonight. Bucks and the Cavs. Got to wait on the Darius Garland news, but I do think the Bucks are the right side in this game. I think the Cavs are the right side in this game. 6 is a little bit too much with how bad the defense has been for the Milwaukee Bucks. They're just trying to run you off the floor. So difficult game because Mitchell could come back and potentially mess up things, but he could come back and everything could kind of fall back in groove as well. They have been playing hard for Coach JB Bickerstaff. So I do lean towards the Cavs catching the points as a home dog. Raptors and Celtics, no play for me. Potentially something live, but like I said, I think it's a Raptor spot. I just can't do it. Couldn't put my money on the Raptors. 76ers and Rockets, I do like the 76ers in this spot. Probably going to end up playing them. Just haven't yet. We'll see what happens. I don't know how much more injury news is going on in this game, but it was a game that I didn't feel inclined to bet early because the line wasn't going to move too much in one way or another. I do like Houston. I do like 76ers. Don't like that they got a conference game in a revenge spot against Chicago tomorrow, but I do think that they're the right side in this game. Didn't quite get there because of that reason, but probably going to end up playing the 76ers on the money line as well. Thunder and the Nuggets. I think Nuggets early, but I need Michael Porter Jr. to be in there. Want to fade the Thunder, all 5 straight home games. Also revenge game for Detroit, for Denver, like I said as well. The starters didn't play heavy minutes. And the Denver, they're a lot better in the first quarter and the first half than they are full game if you go through and look at their net rating. This is something that I've talked about playing them twice this week as home favorites in the first quarter and the first half. Didn't pull the trigger either time. They cashed both games, of course. So it is what it is, man. But yeah, those are my thoughts there. If I'm playing the Hornets in the Suns game, I'm just looking at the Suns team total to go over. I think that they could cover the spread. I know that it's big for a reason, but the Hornets, the same way that they ran out of gas last night against the Lakers, they should run out of gas again here. Second leg of a back-to-back with travel, 3rd game in 4 nights as well. Suns should beat this team by 20 plus tonight, but I think that the better play, and if they win by 20 plus, I do think it's going to be because of their offense and not so much because of their defense. The Hornets can't really score the ball a lot, but they can surprise you at times. They came out and hit 6 of their first 9 threes against the Lakers last night, and I think they finished the game with only 7. But they can surprise you early in game. So Suns team total to go over 123.5, I think would be the top look there. No play at all on the Spurs and the Blazers. No matter what Scoot Henderson numbers are, I think they're absolutely in play, especially with no Victor Wembanyama. Maybe even a sprinkle on his triple-double in this spot. They're going to be down big bodies, potentially looking at Brogdon in this spot as well. And then Grizzlies and the Clippers, like I said, I think it's a Clipper spot, but I do want Kawhi in there. I really want Kawhi in there. Probably not going to get that news until late, which is what always seems to happen around this time of the year. But I do think it's a Clipper spot, and I think Ja Morant and the boys run out of gas here tonight off the game in Denver. And like I said, fourth game of a fourth straight home game as well. I think they play I was just looking at it. They play the Sacramento Kings will be in Memphis coming up. I know it's not tomorrow, but it might be like on Sunday or Monday. So those are my thoughts. Real quick, I'm gonna kick it to Godspeed, see what he's on, and then we'll get off of this thing. So let's go Godspeed real quick. Godspeed, what's going on, my brother? Talk to me.
Yo, what's good? Chris, how you feeling?
I'm good, man. What's going on with you?
I'm doing good, man. Trey Murphy and Michael Porter, man. Blowout. Michael Porter one shot 2 for 3. Maybe, like you said, I know he's questionable today, but maybe it was a look ahead. You know, they got the rest of the fourth quarter, so maybe they looking forward to playing my OKC Thunder because you know what I'm saying, Shea did his thing last time. You know what I'm saying? So maybe it was a look ahead spot for Michael Porter. I did take his 3, so hopefully he played. I gave that out to the VIP. And Trey Murphy just didn't knock down anything, so I mean. Lost 2.5 units on those guys yesterday, but Friday's usually the most profitable day for me. I'm gonna give out 2 straight. We're gonna go straight to the Atlanta and Sacramento game. I'm on Bogey. Bogey, I took his points at 17.5. I believe I got it minus 125, minus 130 on ESPN bet. He's covered in 8 out of the last 10 games. In that span, he's averaging 21.7 points. And all 8 of those games, he's had 20 plus as well. So if you getting 18.5, that I still play it there. He's shooting 45% from the field with an average of 18 field goal attempts. Like I said, Bogey, if he's shooting the ball 18 times, bro, you should go get 18 points. Last game, I think I can't remember who they played last game, but I know he shot 12 threes and shot 3 for 12 from threes and still got up to 20 points. So I really love Bogey. It's a revenge spot versus the old team. I know Kevin Huerter is a popular player. I like Kevin Huerter. 3s at 1.5. It's probably juiced like shit now. I actually gave that play to my VIP out. I got it at 1.5, minus 115. I was on that early. I know y'all don't like Kevin Huerter, but no Kevin Huerter slander this way. He was a part of the biggest ticket that I ever cashed in my life. It was a plus 200K first basket. So we love Kevin Huerter over here. But yeah, I love Bogey tonight. It's gonna be a fast-paced game, and yeah, I just figured, he's in an advantageous matchup as well. Usually he comes in for DeJounte, but with Jalen Johnson back, I watched the last game, because I want to see how the coach was going to manage the rotation and everything. He actually comes in for Jalen Johnson, and they put him at small forward, and he moves to deep bay to the power forward. So the Kings give it up to small forwards, so they are like top 5 in points and like threes giving up to small forwards. So that works for Bogey as well. So I really love Bogey tonight. Not mad at the ladder at all with the volume that he should get. And my OKC Thunder bet of the day, I took J-Dub. J-Dub over 16.5 points at ESPN bet, minus 130. He's averaging 28.3 points in the last 3 games. He's had 24 in Denver 2 weeks ago. In that game, I did notice J-Dub didn't hit any threes. No threes that game, but he still managed to get 24 points. In the last 3 games that I just mentioned, he's had 5, 4, and 2 3-pointers made. So if he got that perimeter shot tonight, I think he covers this line easily. It's a tough matchup on paper, but Denver don't got no rim protector. We just see what J-Dub did to the Knicks without no rim protector. And he also had a good game against the best defense in the NBA and the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I feel like J-Dub is heating up. When you just covering the Thunder, I was actually looking at something. I said, let me go check out J-Dub on 1 day of rest. On 1 day of rest in his last one. I'll just go over his last few games. He had 28 versus the Lakers, 10 versus Memphis, 24 versus Denver, 28 versus Golden State, 23 versus Dallas, 21 versus the Lakers, and 22 versus Golden State. So maybe when J-Dub gets that rest, he plays better as well. So I really, really like J-Dub tonight as well, and I think it's going to be a good game. I know they're going to be without Aaron Gordon. I don't feel like they got nobody to check J-Dub. You know, J-Dub is a guy that wants to get to the rim and get downhill and run the transition. I don't know anybody on that roster that can get physical with J-Dub and really stop him from doing whatever he want to do. Denver has played some of the best defense on SGA that I've seen. In the first game, we see SGA go for 6 points. It's never a fade SGA for me, but SGA did only score 6 points in the first game. Like, that was like the worst game I ever seen SGA play. And in the second game, he really didn't get it going to like the fourth quarter, and he really brought us back to that game and won it. So I do like J Dub tonight. I think he's gonna make it do what it do. And man, let's get this cash on this Friday.
Okay. Hey, look. So real quick, while you up here, Godspeed, you the perfect person to talk about this too. So let's real quick. Let me do this real quick. Since I'm on the show, let's just pull up. I'm gonna share my screen real quick for people who are watching on Twitter. Watching on YouTube. I'm interested to know. I'm gonna give you a number, Godspeed. I just want you to tell me. I want you to tell me yes or tell me. I want you to tell me higher or tell me lower. Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So SGA points, rebounds, and assists tonight. 45.5. You taking the over or you taking the under?
SGA can go get 40 points on this Denver team. I can't play under on SGA at all. Because he can go cover that in points alone. But he said 44, 45.
44.5 is the lowest I see it on DraftKings. 45.5 is on FanDuel.
I think SGA tonight, I think he's gonna have 25 to 30 points and like a 6 or 6. I think that's what SGA is gonna do tonight. So with 25, 6 to 6, he still kind of falls short. But I can't play under on SGA. It's just I can't. SGA, Joker, Embiid, those guys, Luka. I just can't, bro, because they can dominate the game at any point when they want to. But I see them in that realm of the 44, 43, 45, in that realm. So if you can find, I don't know. I know it won't be an under, bro.
No under.
Absolutely no under. I'm not a fan of unders, but the good thing about unders, you all know you win until you lose. But yeah, SGA, we've seen the caption. We know SGA after he have these big games against these big teams. You've seen him kill Steph and go at Steph, and then come back and still dominate the Warriors the next game. But my guy's gonna get up for this game, man. It's the NBA champs, so SGA, man, he gonna come out ready to ball. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he gonna try to score 40 tonight on Denver, especially with no AG. They don't really have anybody to guard SGA one-on-one as it is, but as a whole, the Denver team defense is great.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, you don't see him with any household lockdown defender or anybody that can really get physical besides AG. KCP is all right on defense. He moves his feet, get a couple steals. But as a whole, that's how their defense is top tier. They play great team defense and they're well coached. So I know they're gonna make it tough for SGA. Like I said, they didn't did it both games. I've watched both of them. He struggled. Like I said, I've never seen SGA finish a game with 6 points. And that was early on in the season. They fucking blew the Thunder out, and then the Thunder came back the last game and was able to come out with the dub. But
yeah, okay. So SGA points right now solo is 32.5 on. Looks like the best number I see is minus 116 on Bet365. He had 25 points in the last game 2 weeks ago on the 16th. He had 7 points in the game that Godspeed's talking about when they lost 128-95. Back on on October the 29th, dating back to last season. Doesn't mean that much now, but he did have a 34-point game, a 37-point game, and a 31-point game against his team as well. I'm not sure what to do with SGA tonight. I'm not sure to do with SGA tonight, but I think you probably get a little more value on other players just because they probably gonna be locked in on him, specifically just because he killed him in the last game is my thought process. And real quick, I want to say this too. Somebody put it in the chat, but I also wanted to mention it. I did send out because I saw the tweet as well. I did send out Cavs plus the 5. Number is dropping 4.5. Definitely shop around, get the best number. But I did get the 5 for people who are still watching. I see a lot of people talking about it. Donovan Mitchell tweeted, let him know. And when he tweet, let him know, he typically plays. So I do think that he's probably back in this game. I see Coop mentioned it. H. Springer mentioned it. Dr. Shelley said, surprised you don't think Toronto has the edge tonight, especially without Porzingis is doubtful. They got the edge, Dr. Shelley. I'm not saying that they don't have the edge. What I'm saying is when Toronto has an edge, do they take advantage of the edge? That's what I'm like. If Toronto's in a good spot, they still can do the wrong thing, right? Detroit has been in a lot of good spots to avoid this losing streak. They just can't get it right though. So I'm not. Don't let me talk you off taking Toronto. Toronto might win outright tonight, but I can't put my money on Toronto. Is all I'm saying. Porzingis doubtful. He still hasn't been ruled out yet. And Boston can play really, really good on second leg of back-to-back. Can they run out of gas in the second half? They absolutely could. Boston is also a much better, the best first half team in basketball. So maybe Toronto late, Boston comes out, shuts them down early. We'll see how it goes. Thomas says, what's your most confident play? My most confident play is the only play I played so far, and that's the Cavs plus the 5 at the crib, getting Donovan Mitchell back tonight. Locked and Loaded Sports says Knicks money line, which I'm on the opposite side of that. I didn't play it yet, but I like Orlando. Kings on the money line. I do like that. 76ers on the money line. I do like that as well. He says, best luck to everybody. Live to cap another day. Absolutely. And I think that is it. Thomas says he likes Donovan Mitchell, 30.5 points. And he bet the Raptors plus 6. I couldn't talk you off either one. Could not talk you off of either one. Yeah, as soon as he tweeted it out, the line started dropping, and I actually saw it late because I'm doing the show. But yeah, that line's down to it's actually a 5.5 on Sports Illustrated. They move so slow over there. Still a 5 out there on Bet Rivers, which is where I played it at. FanDuel also has a 5. Unibet has a 5. So just depending on where you shop at, there's some 5s out there as well. You had something else you want to mention, Godspeed?
No. Question for you since we talking about the Cavs game. I got the league that I was looking at.
What's up?
Chris Middleton PR at 27.5. I was playing on props I cash, playing with the filters and everything, and I was able to find when Chris Middleton plays 30 minutes. I'm glad that Donovan Mitchell tweeted that out because usually when he tweet that out, he, like you say, he's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we get a more competitive game because I was absolutely not going to play this if he was out because I figured it might be a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
But it's 27.5 PRA. The Cavs, they giving up points, they giving up rebounds, and then they like middle of the pack as far as assists. Chris Middleton, he's kind of looking like he's getting his minutes. He's had 30 plus minutes. And I want to say 2 or 3 out of the last 3 games. 30 plus minutes. His PRA is 40. He had 40 on Brooklyn. He had 32 on New York on Christmas. He had 30 on New York on the 23rd, and then he had 32 on Chicago. I know, the game is obviously 24.5. I think that was his line. That's a low line for the game versus the Cleveland team that gives up the point guards. And I know Giannis in the last 2 matchups versus Cleveland, he's had 45 and 38 points. So I know that's taking those guys as well. But Chris Middleton, he kind of looked like he's getting back into form, in my opinion. That they definitely give him minutes now as well.
Yeah, I think the thing that is a tad bit scary about that, Godspeed, at least in my estimation, is I think I would take the rebounds out. I think it's points plus assists, just because, like you said, he's been distributing, and Cleveland is a pretty good rebounding team. So I think with outside of Cleveland being a good rebounding team, also, Godspeed, you got to look at at least what I'm thinking is the Bucks are a really good rebounding team. Like they got Bobby Portis, they got Giannis down there cleaning up rebounds. You still got Brook Lopez who gonna get a couple. So I think I'd take the rebounds out and just play his points plus assists. But I couldn't talk you off. Like I said, I like the points at 17.5. With Donovan Mitchell being ruled in, I think that play is absolutely in play for today for sure.
Yeah, I know his points when he get that 30 minutes. His points is in at 75%, 3 out of 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
His rebounds, like you said, it's 2 out of 4 games, but his assists at 4.5. The reason his juice is he's hitting in 4 out of 4 games. His assists is 4.5. When I saw it like -130, I want to say. But I'm just throwing it out there. Just another official on Chris Middleton. Still trying to figure out if I want to get there. But I think I'm with you on that, taking the rebounds out and just going with whether it's PA or just points or just assists. But yeah, that's all I got, Chris, man. Good luck tonight too.
Absolutely, bro. Right back at you. And that's really it, man. Like I said, I got a couple plays that I haven't locked in that I will probably play, but officially I did take that +5. I took the +5. It's coming down to 4.5 at some books, so definitely shop around for the best number. Some books locking it up too. But yeah, like I said, I took the 5 if you want to ride with me there. And I already talked about the other looks. Not sure if Michael Porter Jr. is gonna play or not, Charlie, in the chat. But yeah, best of luck to everybody tonight, man. I hope you guys cash. I haven't even looked at the slate for tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure we got some games for tomorrow as well. Could potentially do a show. We'll see how it goes. See how tonight goes and what I got going on. But best of luck to everybody tonight, man. I hope you guys cash all your tickets, and we'll be back to do this thing all over again here soon. Best of luck tonight. I'm out.